In the news, panic as Nigeria records 8 deaths, 1,867 new cases of COVID-19 in 24 hours. Nigeria confirms plans to sell off some government-owned property to fund 2021 budget. On the international scene, Uganda's Museveni leads as rival alleges fraud. South African scientists record malaria breakthrough. And President Trump feats Morocco king, rallies behind claim. In business, Elumelu's firm buys Shell Total ENI stakes for $1.1 billion US. And in sports, Nigeria's league management company to probe clubs who violate COVID-19 protocols. Details shortly. Hello and welcome to TOS TV, your digital first pan-African network. I am Nkamiang John and this is TOS News 360. Nigeria's Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disclosed on its official Twitter handle on Friday that the West African nation has registered 1,867 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of infections in Nigeria to 107,345. It noted that 8 people also died from the virus in the last 24 hours, bringing the death toll to 1,413. The center added that the new cases were reported from 23 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, the FCT. It stated that 705 patients across the nation had been treated successfully and recovered from the virus in the last 24 hours, adding that the number of recorded patients had risen to 84,535. The center said a multi-sectoral National Emergency Operations Center, EOC, activated at level 3 is coordinating response activities nationwide. Meanwhile, it declared that the new highly transmittable variant of the COVID-19 virus had not been detected in the country. It explained that the centers was able to determine the absence of the new COVID variant in the country through genomic sequence conducted in the partnership with the African Center of Excellence for Genomics of Infectious Disease and the Redeemers University, Ede, in Osun State, southwest Nigeria. Now, Governor of Nigeria's southwest state of Edo, Godwin Obaseki, has suspended the resumption of schools in the state over the increasing cases of COVID-19. In a statement of Friday, Obaseki also reviewed the curfew earlier imposed on the state to now span from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. It was reported that schools in the state earlier planned to resume on January 18 in line with the federal government's directive on religious gatherings. The governor said sitting in gatherings should not exceed a maximum of 30% of capacity per session and ensure physical distancing at least 1.5 meters must be adhered to. The length of meetings should not exceed 1 hour and there must be breaks in between sessions for decontamination. Children below 12 years and adults above 60 years should stay at home. Now, the government of Nigeria says it will be selling off some government-owned properties as well as non-oil assets to fund the 2021 budget. Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, disclosed this during the budget presentation ceremony, which was done virtually on Tuesday, January 12th. Now, according to her budget presentation titled Public Presentation of 2021 FGN Approved Budget, Breakdown and Highlights, which has been shared online, the revenue generated from the sales of these assets will be used to fund the deficit of the budget. The document, however, did not state the assets to be sold. Neither did it state the expected revenue from the sales. Now, COVID-19 task force officials of Nigeria's northern state of Kaduna have rescued 160 children from locations that are neither authorized or licensed as schools or as children's homes within the state. Now, Special Advisor to the State Governor on Media and Communication, Muiwa Adekeye disclosed this in a statement on Friday. According to Adekeye, some of the rescued children are toddlers who aren't yet able to properly identify themselves. He noted that the rescued children are from 13 states in the northern and southern part of Nigeria, adding that some of the kids are from Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, and Niger Republic. This is your digital first Pan-African network, TOS TV network. You are watching TOS News 360. Up next, global news. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. This is TOS News 360, and we go straight to reports from Uganda, where its Electoral Commission announced late Saturday that President Yoweri Museveni has won a sixth term in office with 58.6% of the vote in an election disputed by his main rival, Bobi Wine, who trailed with 34.8%. Now, Wine has galvanized young Ugandans with calls for political change, and he told the news conference on Friday that he had videos of proof of voting fraud. The Electoral Commission Chairman Simon Yabakama told a news conference that under Ugandan law, the burden of proof rested with Wine, whose real name is Robert Yagulani. Now, Wine's claim have not been independently verified, with ballots from 68% of polling stations counted. Museveni had won 5.3 million or 58.8%, while main opposition candidate Wine had 3.1 million votes, that's 34.6%, the Electoral Commission revealed. Now, the United States and European Union did not deploy teams of observers for this election, though the African Union and East African Committee did. Now, Kenya's Private School Association says nearly 400 private schools were forced to close because of the pandemic, affecting 56,000 students. Now, the buildings are being repurposed as shops, storage facilities, businesses, and residents. 29-year-old Nyasi Kuyi taught maths and science before his school closed, but stayed on as the property manager after the building was converted into a rented apartment. While Kenya's schools opened this month for the first time since March, the impact of private schools closure is likely to be felt for some time to come. Now, the World Health Organization, WHO, has refrained from advising proof of COVID-19 vaccination or immunity as a condition for international travel, citing critical unknowns regarding their efficacy in reducing transmission and limited availability. Now, the World Health Organization's Emergency Committee, composed of 19 independent experts, held its 16th meeting in a year as the global death toll from the pandemic reached 2 million among more than 90 million cases. Now, it advised to the World Health Organization was to take a strong lead in order to produce clear guidance and scientifically based guidance about how best to facilitate and permit the circulation of people in a safe manner by air and by sea. Now, the whole panel urged countries to monitor virus variants such as those identified by Britain and South Africa to assess the effect of the efficacy of vaccines, drugs, and diagnostic tests. Now, it called for promoting technological transfer to low and middle income countries with the potential capacity to accelerate global production of COVID-19 vaccines. South African scientists, however, on the other hand, have discovered chemical compounds that could potentially be used for a new line of drugs to treat malaria and even kill the parasite in its infectious stage, which most available drugs do not. Now, the research led by the University of Pretoria, published in the Nature Communications Journal this week, found that chemical compounds undergoing trials for the treatment of tuberculosis and cancer can kill the disease-causing parasite at a stage when it normally infects people. Now, the World Health Organization said in November that deaths from malaria due to disruption during the corona pandemic to services designed to tackle the mosquito-borne disease will far exceed those killed by COVID-19 in sub-Saharan Africa. The United Nations Refugee Agency has said the number of people fleeing violence in the Central African Republic has doubled in just a week to nearly 60,000 as post-electoral violence intensifies. Now, the UNHCR said when rebels moved on the capital Bangui on the 13th of January, 10,000 people arrived in a single day in the Democratic Republic of Congo across the Ubagu River. Others have arrived in Cameroon, Chad, and the Republic of Congo. The Norwegian Refugee Council also said on Friday that the unrest had caused disruptions to aid deliveries, cutting off humanitarian aid to 2.8 million people in the former French colony. Now, staying with developments on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump, in a last-minute push to solidify Morocco's normalization with Israel, bestowed a rare award Friday on Morocco's king, as Trump's administration rallied international support in a regional dispute. Now, the White House said it presented King Mohammed VI with the Legion of Merit degree of Chief Commander in a private ceremony in Washington, in which Morocco's ambassador accepted the gift. Now, the military award was created to honor Allied leaders in World War II and had slid into oblivion until it was revived by Trump, who last month also presented it to the prime ministers of Australia, India, and Japan. Morocco controls most of Western Sahara, but its sovereignty is not recognized by the United Nations. The United Nations agencies are criticizing Ethiopian authorities for blocking most humanitarian aid from reaching civilians and refugees caught up in the fighting in Ethiopia's northern Tigray province. The UNHCR calls the situation of Eritrean refugees in Tigray dire and untenable. It says the refugees are extremely vulnerable and unable to provide for their own needs. It wants safe access and swift action is needed to save thousands of lives at risk. The UN Refugee Agency also expressed alarm at its inability to assist tens of thousands of Eritrean refugees under its care in Tigray. Since then, many have fled the camps in fear of their safety, and others reportedly have been adopted and forcibly returned to Eritrea. In a related development, the European Union has suspended budget support for Ethiopia's worth 88 million euros, that's about $107 million, until humanitarian agencies are granted access to people in need of aid in the northern Tigray region. Now, the EU has provided 815 million euros of development aid to Ethiopia over the past 7 years, on top of 409 million euros of projects focused mainly on supporting refugees and host communities in that country. In a blog post, the EU's top diplomat, Joseph Borrell, said Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed now needs to live up to the Nobel Prize he was awarded in 2019 by doing all it takes to end the conflict in Tigray. Abiy's office did not immediately respond to a request for comments. Now, Borrell said the Tigray conflict had become far more than an internal law and order operation and was now a direct threat to the stability of the whole region, and adding that there needed to be a de-escalation of tension between Ethiopia and Sudan. This is your digital first Pan-African network, TOS TV network. You are watching TOS News 360, and ahead you have business and sports. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. And now we go straight to business, where three international oil companies operating in Nigeria have sold their combined 45% interest in oil mining lease 17 and related assets in the eastern Niger Delta to TNOG Oil and Gas Limited, an integrated energy company founded by Tony Elumelu. Now, Hares Holdings said in a statement that TNOG Oil and Gas would have sole operatorship of the asset. It described the transaction as one of the largest oil and gas financing in Africa in more than a decade, with a financing component of $1.1 billion provided by a consortium of global and regional banks and investors. Now, SPDC announced in a statement on Friday the completion of the sale of its 30% interest in OML 17 and associated infrastructure to TNOG Oil and Gas for a consideration of $533 million. Now, the oil major said the completion followed the receipt of an approval from the relevant authorities of the federal government of Nigeria. TNOG Oil and Gas is related company of Hares Holdings Limited and Transitional Cooperation of Nigeria PLC, both of which have Elumelu as their chairman. Now, the company said it was committed to transfer of OML 17 in an orderly and responsible manner to the new owner, which would help to provide a suitable and sustainable long-term plan to unlock its full potential. Away from business and now to sports, where Nigeria's league management company has said it will investigate the flouting of COVID-19 protocols by professional football league clubs in the country after pockets of fans were seen at some match venues last week. Now, reports on Tuesday revealed that the fans were allowed into the Agege Stadium in Lagos for the match between Mountain of Fire Miracles Football Club and Sunshine Stars and the Eimba Stadium Aba during the and between Eimba and Wiki Tourist games. Now, this defied the directive of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, which banned fans from stadiums last year. Now, speaking with journalists on Tuesday, LMC Chief Operating Officer Salihu Abubakar said the league body would verify and sanction the airing clubs appropriately. Salihu also said the league body was yet to take a decision on Dakada FC after the club reportedly did not carry out COVID-19 tests on their players and officials before their league game against Aqua United on the 28th of December in 2019. Now, it was reported that Dakada FC did not conduct COVID-19 tests on their players and backroom staff, thus flouting directive of the Nigerian Football Federation that the tests were mandatory for all clubs before each game. And that's the TOS News 360 on your digital first Pan-African network. For more updates, do visit our website, www.tostvnetwork.com. Do follow and like TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. TOS TV is also available on TS TV as TOS News channel on channel 138. Do stay with us and enjoy more programs on TOS TV Network. I am Nkamian John. Bye for now.
As a